Dear ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to another edition of the Talk All Things podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Sitela. As always, I'm with Leadership Mandla and Leadership Letlhogonolo here. On today's podcast, ladies and gentlemen, we're discussing all things the EFF, all things the EFF. So basically, a lot has been happening. So we want to discuss to say how will EFF stands of always standing for our African brothers and sisters affect them in the future. We know that economic freedom fighters, they're always they are the pointers when it comes to protecting or fighting for our brothers and sisters here in South Africa and outside South Africa. So basically, what is the future of the EFF in South African politics is standing. We actually seen this past election, they've actually declined based on various issues. So what is your views, Leadership Mandla? How will this stance of EFF actually affect them going into the future?
Sure. Sanbonan. No, thanks, leadership. I think, talking about politics, leadership, it's always a challenge because of everyone is a certain party, and everyone has seen good from all different parties. Yeah, it must be said. It's true. Even the small ones, it's true. No matter but then there is always good things to say. There's always bad things to say. Yes. With Malema and EFF, maybe thinking as Makulmang EFF not to so bad. So Makulmang EFF. Yeah, I'll tell you why I'm saying so bad. So because of EFF, it's a party of young people.
Yeah.
You understand? Same compare EFF na Mayama party. But then today you are talking about EFF.
Yep.
It's a party of young people. It's a party of the future.
Definitely.
When I'm talking about young people, I'm talking about the future.
Definitely.
That's one thing which makes EFF to be different to these other political parties.
Yes.
Yeah. Even the leaders, they are young. Bona bayikala manje.
Yeah.
You understand? Bayikala izolo. Even if they've declined, but then I still believe that there's something about the future about EFF. You understand? Because of if you can compare them to other political parties, it can be your ANC, DA, the only party which is vibrant with young people. It's the EFF.
Yep.
It's the EFF. You can like
yes.
Maskulman leader EFF he's around 40s. Maskulman leader very young. Maskulman leader ANC. Maskulman umuntu on how many years? Maskulman leader DA. You understand? Maskulman leader even though in a good DA there's a young person, but then he won't be there for a long time. We all know that there will be changes, there will be this, and we all know what Helen Zille is the one who's holding there. He understand?
Yeah.
Sure. So maybe leadership program, maybe my leader there, you can just
so leadership
before you can even delve too much into the root of
the problem, the stance. Yeah, leadership Tlhogi, man, what's your stance? Let's I don't know, let's get into it. How is it affecting them? Is it affecting them positively? Is it affecting them negatively when it comes to South Africans? Where are South Africans because of there's so many point of views. A lot of people have said that I love the EFF, but they're always standing for these guys and so forth.
So greetings everyone. My take is that EFF is a party that is vibrant with young people, as Mandla has said.
Yeah.
And it is going to do well in the future. However, regarding this issue ya di foreigner, it's going to disadvantage them greatly.
Yeah.
Because South Africa on its own has a lot of problems.
Yeah.
The young people have a lot of problems on their own.
Yep.
So if you are a political party that does not seek to address the problems of the home that you currently stay in,
Yep.
then the people you stay with are not going to be supporting you.
Yep.
Because you seem to be having a different interest from them. So I believe that people of South Africa are looking for a party that seeks to solve their problems first.
Yep.
So if, for example, Udula Montlung, and then you have parents that are taking care of the neighbor's child without taking care of you,
Yep.
you are obviously going to have resentment towards that parent. So EFF, if they were to be elected, their stance is going to be detrimental to the people who are on the ground.
Yep.
So Batubato Safara, in my opinion, and the opinions of other people that I've heard, because if they do not solve the interest of the local people, South Africans, then it does not seem that they will get the votes that they want. Because unfortunately, Batubako Ntle, you may love them, you may accept them, but they can't vote.
Yep.
And a party, for it to assume the position of leadership, they must be voted in. So now I think the EFF is not going to do well until they change this stance.
Until they change their stance. I like what you said to say, at the end of the day, people who need to vote for the economic freedom fighters, when you speak about this political spectrum, it's the South Africans. So if they're going to push above the 9% that they got, they need to have more South Africans on their side. Because at this stance, I don't think they have. Because I've heard a lot of people saying, you know what, we love the EFF, like Leadership Manager said. EFF, they work for the people. You cannot disagree on that. I mean, if I know cases on this corporate companies, probably if one worker has been dismissed unfairly, people always refer to the EFF on the streets when, and that's what Malema always cries about. Julius Malema says, when they're beating you in the streets there, you call the EFF. When you are abused at your workplace, you call the EFF. And we know that EFF fights for people's rights and people's liberty. You would actually even, you can relate, like Leadership Manager said, with the EFF, a black person, a black South African, they can relate to the EFF. It's young, they fight for the people, and then we acknowledge the EFF for that. But the stance, that's why we want to dwell on this thing, the stance of the EFF, always, like in this case, there's a case that happened, Shadima. Is it the Miss South African?
Chidima.
Is it Chidima? Yes. They came out so vigorously, protecting the young man. I think they spoke ill about Gaten Mackenzie, about him being uneducated, him being too forward, and the results came otherwise. I don't know. Leadership Mandla, what can you say regarding the aspect of the comments that the EFF made about Chidima? They came out so strong, but the results said Chidima is not a South African.
Sure. It's unfortunate that we are talking about one of the most beautiful ladies I've seen contesting.
Yeah.
From Nigeria, from South Africa, it doesn't matter. What you have to know is that we are talking about a human being. You understand? And acknowledging that, we must acknowledge again, Uti, if there was a foul play, it was a foul play. You understand?
Yep.
It's something which we are not encouraging. So, this thing is painful because we are talking about a human being and we are talking about someone who's a woman.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So, I don't think Uti now like to dwell too much. At the very same time, those who supported, they supported with a clean heart. You understand? And those who didn't support, they didn't support because of wanting to know what's happening. You must remember, it's unfortunate that we are talking about politicians. When they campaign, they want us to vote for them so that they can be our voice. You understand? Maybe EFF was right by supporting because of they've been always a vote. Abantu, foreigners in South Africa, foreigners in South Africa. You understand? Talking about illegal foreigners and talking about legal foreigners is two different things. You understand? So mina I think ukuthi maybe looking at the way izinto zi-unfold ngakhona.
Yes.
Now uChidima masekaphumile nanoma uChidima iphathi lene yokumodela. It's two different things.
Yep.
Right now uphumile, the story is gone, but then we are still left with someone who has to pick up himself. Asazi ukuthi maybe the parents told him or what, if you are here bozoyenza kanjani kule space leso. You understand? But then it's a painful thing because of we are talking about Nigerians. You know how Nigerians are.
Our brothers. Yeah, I get what you're saying, and based on again what leadership Tlhogi said again, because we're speaking about the stance again and how this thing is going to affect the EFF. Leadership Tlhogi spoke. He said at the end of the day, should EFF wants to reach a certain ceiling, they need to because South Africans, as per social media, they it seems as if that's why people they will comment and say you'll ask the Zimbabweans to vote for you, you'll ask the Nigerians to vote for you, you know, like that. And they were right. It was sort of okay for them to come out, but probably what South Africans are saying, before you make such stance, be neutral. I don't know what leadership word, you know, be neutral. Don't be too vocal. Don't make your own conclusions. Find out first. Don't just take it out, because now South Africans are saying, this one EFF again. We'll deal with them come 2029. So I don't know, leadership. What's your views on that Chidima case and everything?
Yeah, this one is a very difficult one, and it's one of the most controversial issues that we've had in a long time. My view is that most people who spoke were not supposed to speak as yet, pending the findings of Home Affairs. Because if you can check, when you are a public voice, you need to be very careful of what you say and given what facts for you to say it. So I think it was premature for the EFF to say anything at that stage until proper information was given out. Because people on the ground have a right to speak anything, I believe.
Yes.
Because we do not have access to facts.
Yeah.
We speculate.
Yeah.
But when you are a parliamentarian, when you are a leader of an organization, especially a political one, you must have your facts in order. Then you can come out to say, this is my stance on the facts. So the biggest problem with the EFF now is that they spoke prematurely.
Yes.
And it has unfortunately turned them against people again. Because they chose to speak on this issue primarily because it's a black, foreign or South African person.
Yep.
So they felt they had to have a view. Unfortunately, the view was not based on factual information. They were speculating just like us. And 100%. I believe there must be a difference between people on the ground and people in leadership. They must have access to what they say, and we must get information from them. So if we are speculating and they are speculating, it means no one is better, no one is higher, which is a problem.
I strongly agree with you, leadership on your sentiments that, man, you know what, I think the EFF should, in most instances, assume a neutral role, you know, for them to can stand a better chance of doing better than what they did. You know, we know their stands, we know where they stand, we love our African brothers and sisters, but at times just assume a neutral role, just find out, as opposed to, you know, just being adamant to say this person no is South African or this or that, and then when it comes out now that Home Affairs have made the investigation and the young lady had to pull out, and as per facts, as per investigation, the father is Nigerian, the mother apparently is born from Mozambique, and the alleged fraud, you see, is going to deepen the EFF chances. They are going to lose more support than they have lost the last elections. So another point on this one, I recently had the ZANU PF leader. Is a leader or is a secretary general? I think it's part of the top 6. He came out. Malema made a certain comment about Zimbabwe, and a lot of people are saying the guy. I was honestly shocked and surprised. I mean, the EFF Malema is always standing for Zimbabweans, but that guy sort of put Malema in his place, and he made sentiments like that's why there's a border between Limpopo and Zimbabwe. Malema must, focus in his own country. Zuma political party was just formed about, it doesn't even have 10 months, and they overtook them. And the guy said, it seems as if the revolutionary message of the EFF has reached its ceiling. I was so surprised, guys. What's your point of view on that? To say ZANU-PF is sort of telling Malema and the EFF where to bugger off. What's your point of view on that leadership, Manza?
No, I think I saw that. I saw it passing, that video. Yeah, I think I saw it passing. Sometimes it's a problem because of. I see this thing as a problem because of Malema is always advocating for Uti abantu bangaphandle. They are our brothers and they are our sisters, and we must always love them and respect them. You understand? So for someone who's that vocal in South Africa, talking about foreigners of Zimbabwe, neighboring country, brothers, no, they must do this or they must do that, or they are our brothers. Bese umuntu oyilila yangali. Akhuluma ngendlela thizeni ngomuntu ukuthi is always supporting his people. It's something else. It's crazy. It's crazy. As I was expecting into fanana. But then our politics as Africa, we all know what in Africa there is always. But that's why our own people, maybe Africans, bazalana, asama brothers, into abazenzalana, but we country abo. Everyone was selfish ngomzali wakhe, or everyone was selfish ngendlu yakhe, or
and then what's that? That's what the Zimbabwean leader did. He says, no, Malema, focus on your own country.
Yeah, true.
Focus on your own affairs. That's what you're saying. And sometimes when South Africans speak like that, we are labeled xenophobic. But I was actually surprised when that guy said, focus on your own affairs. And yet, the same EFF that always want to portray this revolutionarism of saying one Africa, the guy said, in fact, leadership theory, that guy said, in his own words, he says charity begins at home. I was like, wow.
Yeah,
and this thing is affecting the EFF, is deepening the EFF, you understand? But I was so, what do you have to say, man? I was crazy stuff.
Yeah, I saw the video and I was listening to the lecture as well. I have to agree with Malema when he said the people of Zimbabwe must rise and stand up for themselves, which is a very positive message. However, the leader or part of the leaders of the ZANU-PF, what he said, I think it resonates with most people in South Africa on the ground. To say, Malema, focus on our issues, focus on our problems as South Africans. Because if you can check other African countries, they are very strict with foreigners, for a lack of a better word. If you can check the story of Thabo Bester in Tanzania, he was caught as an illegal person in that country. So other countries have toughened their laws and ours are very loose. But to blame Malema for that, who is not in government, I don't think it's fair.
No, it's not.
Even though they advocate, but it does not mean they are the reason why there are many foreigners in South Africa. So if what he said, the gentleman, is true, Malema must focus in South Africa. However, he must also notice that the things they are doing in Zimbabwe are the ones that lead their people to come to South Africa, which is also another problem that the EFF is trying to solve and discuss with the people of Zimbabwe. But to further my point, I believe that South Africa must also be a bit strict, especially in terms of illegal people, illegal foreigners from any nation. Because if you can check, South Africa has high crime rates. And if people are not documented, we can't find them. You can have a person break into your house, you find fingerprints, but because they are not in any database, you don't know whose fingerprints are those. So each and every country must have at least some laws that govern illegal people and some laws that govern people who are legal but foreigners at the same time.
Yep. No, I agree with you. I concur with you on your point, and yeah, man, this thing it's another topic, another point. But to summarize this, to conclude, I think the stance that the economic freedom fighters are forever taking, it's really affecting them, and it has affected them, ladies and gentlemen. It has affected them even on the previous elections. They got 6%, and their stance, even if it's their stance is open borders and so forth. If I were to be an advisor of the EFF or advise them to say focus solely on your country, probably give 80% energy on South Africa and 20% outside, especially seeing what the ZANU-PF leader said. So, but remember, guys, the topic of this video is how will this affect the EFF going forward? And I strongly believe that should they continue with the current stance, they will even get below 6% on the 2029 elections. We love EFF. They fight for people. We see ourselves in the EFF, but if they can assume neutral position on such matters like your Shidima and everything, just be neutral. Don't support too much. Do not support more, just be neutral. I think it will help them, because this current stance, of the EFF, it's affecting them. So EFF has now a responsibility to can win South African back. Yes. Like Leadership Mandla said, now the task of the EFF is to win South Africans. I see Leadership Mandla wants to say something there.
I'm surprised that you are talking about EFF, Eluzama vote, EFF. You guys saying it must work on, yes, to regain the vote, they must work on the ground more. But then EFF has been on the ground since. It's unfortunate that they got what they got, but then they were rejected by the voters. But then EFF has worked the ground. You must based on their message, yes, and their stance. But then bona they've been with the people on the ground. Balola abantu emisebenzini, balola abantu makunama racism, balola abantu, like they are like you can name all those places. They've been there. It's unfortunate with their bakule khona le abakulo, mara at the very same time funa ukuthi deep into their stance. What is it that made them to be maybe open borders stance? Because of right now, it's difficult to be against South Africans if you are a leader or you are a politician. Because of, you must remember, we've got a problem with economy. We've got a lot of people who are not working. We've got a lot of people who are struggling. We've got a lot of people who are. You understand? So once you start saying you advocate for these ones, ngeke uzofuna ukuphakela abantwana abangaphandle abakubabulawa indlala. Ufuna ukuqalela endlini. And that stands less, because of, you must know ukuthi this thing is nayo, problem is nayo economy. Ngibona sengathi yoba i problem ezobandenyana. It's not something ezolunga manje. So we must make it to a point ukuthi we promote our own things, and for them they must show it ukuthi ba promote nama company lawo ethu la, support nabo bani, asenzeni ini. They must be full time on the ground. I'm telling you, 2026 probably iphathe ngawina amalena amaningi, amahota amaningi, iphathe ukuthi abantu bazobanayo phansi.
Wonderful and great commentary there, guys. Just Leadership Top, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I fully agree with what Mandla is saying. EFF, in my opinion, based on the things I've seen, was the most hardworking party before elections, during campaigning, and I believe they will continue to work, even though they had said that people who voted for them are the only ones who are going to benefit from their works. That's what Malema said. But I think it's just a threat from a bitter heart based on the results. But I believe that they will not change who they are based on the votes that they got. I believe they will pick up from what they lost, re-strategize, and they are going into conference soon. So I'm not expecting many changes in terms of presidency, but I believe that there will be many moves that will be changed to make sure that they regain their support.
Sure.
100%. Guys, we've said a mouthful today. Once again, we urge you to like our Facebook page, subscribe to our Facebook page, share our Facebook page, and also leave your comments. What do you think the stance, what is the future of the EFF in South African politics? Will their stance of always standing for our fellow African brothers and sisters affect them in any other way, particular or form? Just leave us your comment below. Let's engage. Thank you. Out. Boom.